I'm a 17-year employee with Borel, and so I've had the pleasure of working with him for 7 years.
Well, I'd say it was about in the range of 12 to 15 years ago, and it was basically through tennis and the Los Altos Country Club.
And had the pleasure for the last 7 years working with John Conover.
Known him since the day I was born.
Well, I met John in college. We were both in a Spanish class together. I was in the front row with all the goody two-shoes girls, and he was in the back row with all the guys. And we subsequently took another class together, an English class together, and seemed to always end up sitting together. And it developed very rapidly from there. So we were college sweethearts.
It's a working relationship, but based on a strong friendship also.
It's actually both professional and personal. As a director of the bank, I work very closely with John. But I also have the other side that at social events, a lot of nonprofit events that John completely really believes in, and people in the bank do also. I have my wife and I have the pleasure of spending time with John and Linda.
I hold 5 men really close and dear to my heart, not just because I trust and respect them, but just they're great. And 4 of them are family members, and one is John Conover.
He's really a people person. He loves his family, he loves his employees, and he has such a commitment to the community and to serving others.
It's easy to work with.
Other than his tennis, he is probably the best manager I've ever worked for.
You know, his best quality, I think, is the value he places on people.
Probably the very best quality of all is that he makes everything look easy and comfortable, as if it was just meant to happen that way.
I think he's a problem solver.
Like the 3 F's. He's friendly, fair, firm, but I would add another F, he's funny.
You know, if you had to ask me, in the realm of business, of the people that I've had the pleasure of working with over the years, he's got it all. He is the complete man, the complete professional, the complete banker.
How might John improve? I just can't think of anything. I think he's a pretty perfect guy. I'm not crazy about some of the ties he wears. There's this one with orange stripes. I don't like it so much, but besides that, I'm thinking he's perfect.
Maybe you should lengthen his ties a little bit, because I usually see his belt buckle.
He could start working on his golf game a little more.
Maybe his golf game.
I know that when he came up the area that he was a Dodger fan. So he did improve there. He did become, I believe, a Giants fan. But then I was a Dodger fan too, so I'm from the same area. I came from Los Angeles too, same as John. He was from Hollywood, and I went to the other high school across town. So I guess he could improve. He could have gone to the right high school.
His priorities are his family first, his friends. He pretty much puts himself towards the end.
I think with John that's very clear. With him it's people.
It's his family, his friends, community, but number 1 is family as it should be. John believes strongly that you get things done through people. He's proven that time and time again, and that the relationships are truly what counts. Yeah, I can tell you, it's sort of funny, a little crazy, because it's the first thing that comes to mind, because it's the last thing I've seen. And we had a best places to work party. And so we had one of those carnival style photo booths. And so he went in there over and over and over again with all these different staff members. And I gotta tell you, he looks pretty good in a boa. And he gave a number of the executives at the bank 10 golf lessons. And the only, for the professional, and the only stipulation was that you had to play a game of golf with him, which I did at a tournament at the Peninsula Golf and Country Club for Mills Peninsula Hospital, and basically dug a trench throughout the entire course. And he's never asked me to play again, and it's probably a good thing.
He came home with a picture of him. He had a mohawk on. He had just driven in on a motorcycle to some big rally that he had when he was working for B of A. So he'll do things like that, I think, to get people motivated.
As he was driving to work, a car passed him at great speed. And as it passed him and cut back in, he saw the man who was driving turn back and lean out the window and shoot. And just as he was observing that, another car sped by him, this time with a woman in it. And she was after that car, and she was shooting at him. So this was a couple who evidently had a serious altercation, and that was his introduction to Southeast LA.
The one story to me which is mind-boggling is that his dad was a reporter in Hollywood, and for John to go with his brother and his mother and father during the cold years back in the 60s, camping in Russia. I mean, Dad must have been out of his mind. And John just relates to like, well, yeah, we went camping in Russia, and they literally did. They were arrested a couple of times because there were places they weren't supposed to be. But I thought it'd be pretty cool. Back in the 60s, what'd you do? I went hiking, camping in Russia.
One time he was on a business trip.
And I know he had so many responsibilities and so many things that he had to do.
He was away in Texas, and he flew back for my sister's birthday.
And I know he was absolutely swamped with things to do. But at her birthday party, who walks in the door? But John. He had taken the time to fly down and to come to her 11th birthday party.
It was kind of like, hey Dad, how you doing? I had to be here for Lisa's birthday, and then he hopped right back on the plane and left. And that's kind of what he does. I mean, he takes out moments of time to be with people, and it's funny because you're thinking, shouldn't you be somewhere else? And he should.
Borel is a very philanthropic organization. We support over 240 nonprofit organizations, the Boy Scout being one of them. John Conover has shown up at almost all events that we have. That's extremely unusual for a CEO, very busy CEO. And I would say to you, in his tenure at Borel, there probably wasn't a night that didn't go by or a luncheon that he wasn't there. And I have to say, he's not what we sometimes call as a knife and forker, someone who just shows up. John really puts a lot of effort into what he does, and he shows up and he works, and he is just very, very respected for that. For John, it's all about community. It's about the people, but it's about community.
He eats more chicken dinners than any person I know because he is out in the community all the time. We, as CEO of Borel, he really instilled that through the organization to be involved in the community, and he does what he says.
Borel has a history of being very involved in nonprofits, and nonprofits that I've been involved in, historical associations, schools, different organizations in town. Borel's always had people that are on boards, working with them, etc. That's being promoted by John.
Besides doing too much, he never says no to anybody. He's always out there, and he's always volunteering his time. I've seen him, teach classes at Junior Achievement, and I've seen boards he's been on and events we've been to events where he's been on the board and run. He's not just a board member. He gets actively involved.
He works for Junior Achievement. He believes so strongly in education. That's something that came from my grandfather. I mean, everything was always about get your education. Education is the critical point. That's the way you can do good. One thing that I've been impressed with working with him is how he encourages everybody else to do the same.
John himself, during the time that he took this hiatus between Bank of America and getting back into the workforce, he just wanted to take it easy. Well, he didn't take it, he traveled a lot, but he was president of the Bay Area Junior Achievement, and it's very close to his heart. And to this day, he still teaches there.
I think John should enjoy himself, spend time with his grandkids, which I know he's looking forward to. I suspect he's going to stay in nonprofit work, and I hope that he stays in contact with all of us Borelians.
He is such a great grandfather. My daughter's always saying, can I call Granddad?
He loves his grandchildren, so he's going to spend more time with them. They love to travel. He'll do that, and he'll get occasionally golf and tennis in.
He retired once before, and that didn't last very long. He immediately was chosen as president for the Los Altos Country Club and supervised the renovation of their golf course. After that, he took this job with Borel, and he's just absolutely run with it for 7 years. So I'm not expecting him to stay at home. He does love to play tennis, he does love to travel, he does love to play golf. But my best guess is that he will find some other venture that is of great interest to him, and I'm all for that. We're not sitters, so I think whatever we do, it'll be great fun.
I am just so proud of everything he's accomplished while he's been at Borel. It's such an honor to be able to work with my dad.
I've never seen a family get along as well as his 3 girls do. I mean, it's amazing.
I thank him for making me a better person.
John has really pushed that idea that we are a local bank and we're customers are #1 to us along with our staff.
He's just a very smart, hardworking person, and I hope people see through the easiness of his approach and appreciate all of the expertise that he puts into what he does.
I am just so proud day in and day out of what he does and what he stands for, and he believes it, he lives it, and I'm just very proud of all the accomplishments he's had.